Hello and welcome back to the secrets of RWA tokenization with the EquityMint platform. For those of you who don't know, RWA tokenization is just a fancy way of saying you want to make a stock representing one or more real-world assets. Specifically, what we're focusing on here is real estate, properties. You work for a company as the chief financial officer, chief operating officer, or CEO of a company that has one or more projects, where each of those projects represents one or more real estate assets. For example, let's say the company owns 2 properties and it wants to issue shares in those properties so that all the buyers of stock in those properties get to enjoy a portion of the rents that come in on those properties and also get to enjoy a distribution when the properties are sold. Very simple. It's helpful to think of this process as creating a digital version of stock. Just like a traditional subscription agreement defines the sale of ownership units, here those units are represented as token units. Each token functions as a share, and the token contract itself represents the stock class being issued. The total number of tokens defines the total number of shares available. The goal is to let you offer your equity to the public in a simple, verifiable way, without attorneys, intermediaries, or complex filings, using only your digital subscription agreement. That agreement is cryptographically bound to the token. Its hash is embedded directly into the smart contract, ensuring permanent validation and transparency. Your base domain is embedded directly into the token, ensuring the subscription agreement it represents is tied to a trusted public domain. This guarantees that your offering remains authentic, transparent, and enduring. To add a second layer of trust, the full subscription agreement can also be published at yourdomain.com/contract address, providing a permanent verifiable link between your token and its legal document. These are patented validation processes unique to EquityMint. A million lines of code, countless features. Here's what really matters. On the surface, it's simple. You give your investors a token address. They click Connect and Discover and instantly verify that the URL hosting your subscription agreement PDF is the same one cryptographically embedded in the token itself. And this is a patent pending process we have. They're going to click Verify. They're going to confirm that the document is valid, and then they're going to see a Buy button. It's that simple. You, as an admin, are going to set things like gating, for example. You're going to be able to set whether your users need to be registered. And if they do need to be registered, then you're going to whitelist their public address. In real time, you get to whitelist them if they are verified. And you could write that they're KYC verified or not. You can give a little registration note. Are they a US accredited investor? Yes or no? And then you click Register User. It's that simple. So without further ado, we're going to show you how to use the EquityMint platform itself to create your token. And when you create your token, we're going to go to that now. When it comes time to actually create it, this is the secret sauce. It's going to create a controller for you that allows you to put in one or more admins, treasury admins, token admins, admins that represent and control your treasury, when funds can be distributed, all the things you want to do in the real world. Automated distributions. The token content contract contains information about your subscription agreements. It contains the fingerprint. It says yes or no. The subscription agreement that the user has in their hand, it verifies if that subscription agreement hash code is embedded in the token, specifically in the token content contract, which is tied to the token. Your users only need this address, and everything happens from there. The sale manager is where you specify how much it costs. How much are you selling each token for, right? If we resumed where we were at previously, it goes right into compiling. It brings down the source code from an Infura node and goes into compiling, and then goes to the next, and then it actually deploys all in real time just for you. Now, this is stuff for admins and for our white labeling professionals, people who specifically We have some white labelers, and you are able to provide services. If you have a whole list of projects and you want them to be offered through your own website, we're already set up to do that. You just register your own team and point your subdomain to EquityMint with your team ID. We're going to show you exactly how we upload a new model, which is a controller or a token content or a token contract that serves for the entire platform. Whenever we make updates, we're able to do that through this same screen. It's quite impressive, and we'll show you that next. What we want to get to now is you as a project owner or officer in a company that is a project owner. How would you go and make the stock, make the token? So this is where you do it. But let's go one step back even further. We are logged in right now, and this is a little bit about you as a user. This is your profile. In this case, it's my profile. We're going to log out, and we're going to start from scratch. All you do is sign in. Before that, you register. And the way you register is you just enter your name and your email address, and then it's going to ask you to associate it with a wallet, and it's going to ask you to verify, just like in any other platform, except this case, instead of entering a password, you're going to enter wallet to register. So let's assume you got through that already and you're registered. The next step is you'll sign in. And to sign into the EquityMint platform, you just type in your email address. It sees that you're already registered because it saves the public address that you registered with in local storage. So you just click Sign with Key, and then it says, hey, your wallet's being opened. Go sign the message. And this is government grade security, folks, so this is more advanced than pretty much anything else out there. It's the elliptic curve signature used by Ethereum. You can make your own keys if you don't want to use a wallet, but then you will not be able to use this platform to make your own tokens. Just as a note, you must have the MetaMask Chrome extension embedded. Now we're going to confirm the message. Message is signed, and now we click sign in, and now we're signed in. Next step for you, you're not going to see this admin, which allows us to change some really fancy features of in the platform, such as company management, whether the public can log in or not, because remember, this is built on the Data Cloud OS platform, which is so versatile. It allows you to do so many different things. Among them are setting the models that the whole platform is going to use, and merging the models into a full object chain and saving that object, and then going into the deployer to actually take the newest code and turn it into deployed live code, live on-chain smart contracts that we then can make our models saved and then make deployed company contracts based on, if we want to even make a utility token, which we will show you later. But this platform itself is designed to be used as an RWA tokenization platform. So let's get out of admin. Let's go back into where you need to be, which is going to be operations. You've signed in and you click operations. That's it. Once you're here, you're going to specify a little bit of information about who you are as a company. And that's really simple to do. You're just going to push this little plus button, or if you want to be in stupid mode, you'll hit the blue button. Stupid mode is like a big giant screen showing you all this stuff. We don't recommend it because some features are missing from this. And notice how you are linked to your public address. That's really important, your public Ethereum address. Let's get out of this mode and let's go back into normal display mode. And this is where you're going to add a bit of information about yourself, who you are as a company, what's your national tax number as a company, what is your symbol on a stock exchange as a company, right, if you have one, what's your email address as the user. This public address represents you as a user, an officer of the company that you're registering here. Now, to save some time, we're going to bring in an example company that I have already, so I can only see the companies that I've put on this platform, and I'm just going to go get it right now. Now, It turns out I only have one company registered with this platform called Velios Realty. This is a realty company that I own, that there are perhaps 20 property projects inside the realty company. So it's not just for getting people, homes, and it's not just for buying and selling homes, but it's also for representing owners, not just for that, but it's also actively managing projects. So this is a perfect example of a company that owns or manages real estate, not just for the purposes of buying or selling. What have we done here? Notice we already started to make a token. To save some time, we're going to show you the token that we started to make has these characteristics. The issuer name, which is automatically brought in from here. The project name, we're calling it the Velios New York Trust. Why? Because it owns 2 properties in New York that it wants to tokenize as a single entity, as a single project, which means there must be a subscription agreement for it. Well, where is the subscription agreement? It's located at velios.com/subscriptions. Where is it going to be ultimately? velios.com/subscriptions/token contract address. Again, this is where one of our patents lies. And that, again, is a security mechanism that we'll tell you about later. You don't need to know about that now, except to know that your token is only as secure as what it represents and what you manifest that it represents. And it's only as secure as the public knowing that your domain is actually you and that you are an honest company, right? That's beyond the scope of what we do. We just confirm, we do everything we can on a technology level to confirm that, hey, you made a subscription agreement, and hey, that subscription agreement exists at this domain that you specified, and the rest is up to you and your users, your investors. So let's go into edit mode here, because you uploaded some information, for example, but not everything. Well, what's missing? In this case, nothing's missing, but we notice there's no controller address. That means we haven't deployed this yet. Now let's try and do that. What we would do, and by the way, if your to get your token info hash, you need to have a subscription agreement, and simply you would just select the document that you want to be your subscription agreement that you've already made, right? In this case, let's say it's this one. So it calculates the hash, and now you're ready to go. You just click the deploy button, which checks that all of these are filled in. And if they're not, it may still let you deploy, but then you'll have problems later when you actually try to deploy. So you want to make sure you've got all of those things filled in, and you want to look that they're here. You want to look at the controller. You want to see that, hey, the platform name is specified. You want to see that, and this is fixed, by the way. You want to see that your address shows as the project administrator. You want to show who you are as the super, and you want to show the project name and everything that you entered in. It's here. Token content, you want to see that info hash. Again, this is one of our patent pending processes. It's saying, hey, your subscription agreement hash must exist. Actually, your subscription agreement itself, the document, must exist at the base URL /contract address. You don't know what the contract address is yet for the token or for any of these things, but you will after you deploy, and then you'll just move your subscription agreement from here to here. Very simple task. Or you'll make another version of your subscription agreement with the contract address embedded and stored only at the base URL, which could be your domain name /subscription agreements, for example. And that's fine too. Both of those will verify nicely on the token sale page that we showed you earlier. So there's a lot of flexibility here. So moving right along, we're now into the sale manager portion. And we want to know what the pricing is. That's not listed here. The pricing is part of the sale manager and should show here. And it does not. So this is actually missing from the sale manager contract and will be added shortly. So the sale manager contract would not deploy successfully without knowledge of the price that the token's being offered at. But we'll show you how far we can get. All of these are administrative functions that will show you that we need, and we'll show you how that works just as a side note at the end of this video. Here's where the magic starts. You just click auto deploy. That's all you do, and then you either start fresh or resume previous. And if we resume previous, we'll only get so far because we're already into the token. Let's try it anyway. The token compiled successfully. As we said, the sale manager will not compile successfully because it doesn't even have the price information, most likely. But let's try anyway, just to see what it shows us, where we're at now. And this is the last stage before deployment. All of these compiled successfully for your parameters. These are your versions of the contracts that are compiling. Construction bytecode, constructor bytecode, and deployment bytecode. Very important, you need that separate deployment bytecode for your parameters, and that's why the compilation step is necessary. One could probably get a slightly faster compilation if we took existing constructor params, which are fixed, constructor bytecode, and fed that into the compiler directly just to get deployment bytecode. But we're currently not doing that at this time. That's a small minor phase 2 tweak. And it's saying, hey, some things are missing, like we said they're going to be, right? What's missing? So it's not even asking for price, which means it needs to be added to the sale contract. But this is going to be injected, so that's okay actually. This will be injected. And what's actually missing is the issue token symbol. This is very simple. The issue token symbol, it should just be getting from, so no deployment at this time, but it should just get the issue token symbol from the token, which is up here. And again, there it is. There's the token symbol. Very simple change, and it's even here in the sale manager. So in fact, it is there. So again, just simple UI changes. So now what? Assuming it deployed, one of the things you might want to do is just check, hey, what's in the controller right now? And you're going to want your token with your symbol to be in the controller. Not this model controller, but the one we've just deployed, which will show as last deployed. You're going to want to check what's there. And in our model, of course, we've got the EquityMint token, right? And our own issue token sale manager. But when you press this button, you're going to see your project symbol name right here because it'll be in your controller, right? So this is all ready to go, and with a couple of minor tweaks. And now we're going to do something just to show you the power of this system at a very high level. You can take, we're going to take right out of our laboratory a new token. We just made some changes to the token, and we want, for our next white labeler coming in tomorrow, we want to make sure they have the latest token enhancements. So what we're going to do is we're going to go right into, we're going to specify token by clicking on it. So the token type is what we're focused on right now. Now we're going to go in and we're going to choose a file. And to do this completely cleanly, actually everything is still referencing the same things that it did before. But to do this completely cleanly, we're going to close this, go into the admin side. Again, this is not something that you'll do, but some of our viewers might, because there'll be white labelers possibly that'll be interested in this information. And so, as you see, there's a plethora of chains to choose from. But what we're going to do is we're going to change the token model. But before we do that, we have to actually deploy it. So what are we going to do? We're going to open the deployer from here with a clean, empty source code block, and we're going to get the correct source code. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to go locally and get our latest token, which is called, we have to get out of all of this nonsense and go into home and then open up this and go right into our smart contracts. And we're going to open up where it says contracts and core. We're going to go right into the issue token. So the issue token is what we want. There are some dependencies that it's going to ask for. So executive peer treasury is one of them. Remember that every contract is its own treasury. Very powerful. You can do a lot with that. In this case, you're going to use the sale contract as your treasury. So we still need to add treasury constants, which is down here. And then we still need to add the interfaces, iController and iIssue content. So we add the controller by going to the interfaces, iController, and you'll add the iIssue token content manager. Now that these are added, the source code was brought in both locally from our development environment, and remote dependencies were brought in. Very exciting. So we have a combined source code in a JSON format ready to compile. So we're going to compile this new, and once again we have to select the type. We want to select token. And we have this new model now that we're creating for all of the projects on our platform going forward. Very exciting that we can do this all through our own interface now. And you too will have the ability to do this. So this really blows conventional RWA tokenization out of the water. And that's why we're calling this a .org too, because it's really the next level of RWA tokenization. As we said, everybody is just gonna close up shop because of this, because this tool set is so versatile that everyone will be able to come running and use blockchain for real purposes with much less fraud and no anonymity. Anonymity is bullshit from our perspective, because we're dealing with the big boys now. We're dealing with real world assets, $1 million valuations plus. Nobody wants to invest in something if the people can't be accountable who's selling what it is that they're investing in, right? And that's the whole purpose of the SEC. So as much as we don't applaud so much of what the SEC does from having a lack of understanding, we certainly applaud its attempt at accountability. Now it says the current size exceeds, but it really doesn't. Wait, it's actually not even giving us the choice here. It does in this case by just very strange, by just a small amount. But you know what we're going to do? I hit recompile, but what we're going to do instead, I don't even think that worked, is we're going to do 2,000 this time because it was such a small amount. And that was because we did make some changes that didn't bring us over on the NPX side, and it should not be showing that it's brought us over here. But then again, on the NPX side, we compiled. Well, no, we weren't over. We compiled with only 400 runs. What I'm saying, I'm saying the NPX hard hat side versus the JavaScript compiler, the C compiler showed us that, hey, even without optimization, we were still under 24K. But we did make a couple of changes. We added just a tiny bit more code, which means this will probably optimize at 4,000 runs. And if this were truly going to be the token for all our platform projects going forward, then of course we would attempt to get as many optimization runs as possible, because our gas then for every transaction would be just a little bit less, right? The difference between 2,000 and 10,000 runs is probably 5% gas fees. Very, very negligible. So if the gas fee were $2, maybe it would be $1.90 instead on optimal runs. So we're attempting to, and it did compile at 2,000. That's exciting. Great. And you see we have still some room to play with here. But just because, in the interest of making this an amazing video, we're going to deploy the contract as is. So what's the token name? Well, you know, for the model, it really doesn't matter what you put in here. But for consistency, we're going to say that it is the EquityMint platform model, because that's exactly what this is, the EquityMint platform model. And it's actually not just the EquityMint platform model, but it's the platform token model, because this is a token, this is the token contract, right? Token symbol we can say is EMINT. in case we decide to use it directly, which we may do. Instead of using a separate company contract, we may use this directly as our token. So the token description is literally the same thing. It's the EquityMint platform token, EquityMint platform model token, built on Data Cloud OS, which is a U.S. fintech company, a U.S. fintech platform. One could say software as a service platform. Right. It only really matters what you put in here if we weren't going to verify it immediately, because then we would have to make sure we use the same stuff, the same parameters again if we are unable to verify right after deployment. And so, fine, we'll never remember this, right? So we'll save it just in case. The max supply we're going to use is actually, as a tribute to Satoshi, we're going to use 210 million. Right? Similar, 10 times more than the 21 million of Bitcoin, right? But we don't really need more than this. The max allowed decimals you guys are going to have is always 0 to represent real shares in the real world, but maybe you'll go to 2 because, for example, Tesla is $5,000, right? You can't sell a half a share of Tesla unless you do so in a private agreement. Wouldn't it be nice if Tesla could sell like at least a single decimal so you could buy 0.1 share, right? So you could put 2 here, for example. But in our case, and even in your case behind the scenes, we've got 18 decimals. So when you put in 0, it just means the max allowed is 0, but we're still playing with 18 behind the scenes. So what we're going to do, we're going to deploy this contract. The token content address is already specified as something that we're not changing. We don't even know, I don't even remember. I just made some changes just now. And did I update token content address as well? I mean the token content contract as well? I may have. So I'll have to go back and check that. But for now, suffice it to say, you click deploy contract, and this case, the contract really does not exceed. It's checking the constructor bytecode against the deployer instead of the deployer bytecode. So we can ignore that and say try anyway. And now continue. All of these things are filled out. One last check to make sure you've got everything, and then continue. And now it'll open up MetaMask. This is, what we've been waiting for, and it's the same thing for you. When you click auto deploy, at some point, if everything compiles correctly, it's just going to say, hey, you now have to pay for it, and you're only going to pay network fees. It's not until after that you've made your contract that you're going to go and into the token sale and activate it, right? So if I hit confirm, it's going to deploy this new version of the token using that token content, and it will work. I'm just not going to do it because I might have also made changes to token content. Actually, just to show you guys that it works, right? I could hit confirm, pay the $10 because it's such an awesome video. So I'm going to do it anyway, even though we're going to have to redo the token one more time. But it's just this so simple to do. Now, what took me 9 months and 10 years of preliminary work before that for the centralized platform to exist on this powerful level is now achievable in minutes, in real time. It's exciting to show you this in a real live video. Transaction has been broadcast to deploy the new token, model token that represents and is utilizable by all the projects on the EquityMint platform going forward, right? That's how simple it is. And yet there's a million lines of code behind it. So this is waiting to be confirmed. Now once it's confirmed, it's going to verify automatically based on this source code. So it took quite a while to develop the UI, for such as complex as it looks for you guys. It's the fastest UX to do so much so quickly, all in one place. There's a lot going on behind the scenes to make all of this work, including the horrible gas estimation, so things flow smoothly. Ethereum never got its gas estimation quite right. You can estimate 3 or 4 times higher, and occasionally still the MetaMask side will fail, like take a long time, right? Or just fail. So now, look, it just worked. It was accepted and it verified. Checking verification, it's in pending, so it didn't verify yet. So it's still pending verification. And you're going to go through these steps yourself, too, when you auto-deploy. It's going to do all of this automatically. What, in the past you might have spent $500,000 on with a blockchain consultant, you just come here and do. Now look at that! Yay! It deployed. We've got a new model token now. It's deployed, 210 million, and it says the model remains open. You can verify now that maybe it didn't verify for us. Well, actually, no. It says 5 on attempt number 5. It passed, so it did verify. Now, to confirm that, there's 2 ways. Obviously, the old way by just going into the Explorer, but you can just go right through our platform here. And by the way, this pertains to you. You guys are going to see automated bytecode generation for all 4 contracts that you need for your token, for your RWA token, or stock, or issue, as we call it. Right? We're trying to get away from the name token, even though that's what it is, because we want you to be familiar with what we're emulating here, which is a real-world stock, not just necessarily in a company, but in a subscription agreement. Maybe stock isn't the right word, and units and shares in not an entity but a subscription agreement is more appropriate. But it's easier to think about it like it's as if it were a stock. Now, what are we looking for here? We're looking for, I wanted to show you this, the token we just deployed. This is the last deployed token. Notice how it's different than our model. Now we can just click this, check it verified, and boom, it's verified on Block Explorer. Don't believe me? Copy it and just go into Etherscan, paste that address, and see if the contract has a check mark. And it does. And if you want, click on it and you'll actually see the source code. It's really cool how seamless this has become now. Now look at this. These are the remotely imported Open Zeppelin contracts, and our contracts are down here. Look at that. Here's the executive peer treasury. This is wild. This allows you as a token admin or as a treasury admin to do withdrawals. Executive peer treasury is treasury constants. Here it is. Copyright US FinTech, wonderful. Written by me. Here we go. Lovely, so happy. Okay, now take this and you want to do some more research on this stuff. You can take this and we can go back to our platform here, and we want to see if this token has been added for the 3rd time to this controller, and it has. So if we hit refresh, we're going to see it 3 times in there now. There it is, 3 times, right? We want to get rid of the other 2 now because this one is more up to date. How do we do that? Well, look at this. We've got a wonderful controller manager up here too. And the controller manager shows everything that's inside it. And this is our latest controller ending in 4B. So look at this. There's smart contracts entities. And look, EquityMint is in 3 times. Well, which one do we want? If we forgot, we want the last one we just deployed. Well, what is that? Let me just paste it up here for a second. The one we just deployed ends in FD. Okay, so we definitely want that one, but we don't want D4 or 5E. So what do? We just go into Edit, and you have to be a super to do this, right? Which you are if you deployed the token. Your token, you're a super, and you can go here and control what can be done and by who. So if we go into Remove Entity, and when you want to remove it as a smart contract, you've got a couple of EquityMints here, right? Now the one we said we want to keep is FD, right? So let's get rid of the one ending in 5E first. Remove entity, it's as simple as that. And of course there's a fee to do it. Even if it's only a few cents, you'll pay the network fees to do this. We don't charge you any extra to manage your controller, by the way. So 39 cents to remove an entity or add another entity. We only charge the activation fee and token transfer fees that are set amounts. And negligible in comparison to what the market is doing out there. Hence, we are a .org. So let's close this extension. And look at that. One of the emints disappeared. So we can remove the other one later, or we can do it now too. The one ending in D4, we can remove that one too. And then we're done with this, and we're done showing you basically how this whole platform works. In the next video, you'll see it not only seamlessly, but you'll see it with a real project. So we're excited to show you that next. And what we should leave you with is simply two things. We should leave you with what you did to get here, which is really just this. All you did is you logged in. You're not on the admin side. You logged in and you entered the information about yourself. You uploaded it. You said okay, whatever that information was. You reloaded. And then you went into edit mode again and you click deploy. And when you click deploy, you go down to the bottom and you click auto deploy. And that's it. Maybe 15 minutes of your time to save $500,000. Is it worth it, folks? You tell us. Is this a matter of, oh, the screen could be a little more purple or bigger letters? Or is it a matter of saving $500,000 and spend only 15 minutes of your time to get your token deployed, representing your real-world asset projects? I mean, it's a no-brainer. And at the end of the day, what are you showing your users? You're showing them your subscription agreement, not any of this, and you're giving them the token address, and they're going here to a nice, clean web page where the first thing they're going to see is, and by the way, let's just do this so that the first thing they're going to see is this, nice and clean. They're going to enter the token address, connect and discover, then they're going to select the subscription agreement that you gave them, right? Again, no token sale right now. Gotta call mom, make sure everything's okay. They're going to see the symbol. They're going to have the verify token and documents is going to let them this will not work right now because of some small changes we made. But what they're going to see here, and when the verify token and documents is say, hey, look, it says do not purchase because we didn't put what we said our hash code is into this location. EquityMint.org/legal/this address does not contain our subscription agreement. Right now our subscription agreement is at /legal alone because we didn't have this address. So we got to go in there and just move it from legal into this subdirectory that we now have to make, and then it's going to say it's valid. So this is actually working at the moment. This is absolutely amazing, folks. Once this shows that it's valid, a buy button appears. I mean, you can't get simpler than that. Hope you enjoyed our video. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good night, and I wish the best of health for everyone, including mom.